The video most people watch to learn Solana has 2 million views, and it is 4 years old. It was made before the ETFs, before Firedancer, before the biggest consensus change this chain has ever approved. Almost everything you have been told about Solana comes from a snapshot that no longer exists. I'm Rachel from ChainSense. In the next 9 minutes, how Solana actually works in 2026, what staking really pays once the marketing is stripped out, and where this chain still breaks. Solana's pitch has not changed. One global machine, fees in fractions of a cent, speed that feels like the internet rather than a settlement system. What has changed is everything underneath the pitch. This is now one of the busiest networks in the industry. Stablecoin rails, payments, consumer apps, real traffic, not testnet theater. That is the shift the old clips never captured. Not a promise about throughput, but people actually moving money through it every day. A network nobody uses can look flawless in a diagram. A network this busy has to prove it in production. And yet its reputation still carries the baggage of 2022. Fair baggage, earned even, we will get to it. But judging this network by its old explainers is like reviewing a restaurant that changed the kitchen, the chef, and the menu. 3 years ago. You are not wrong about what it was. You are wrong about what it is. The original trick was a cryptographic clock. Proof of history. A way to order transactions before the network votes on them, so consensus spends its time agreeing rather than sequencing. Bolted to that, a voting system where validators flooded the chain with their own ballots. It worked. It was also heavy. At times, most of the traffic on Solana was Solana voting on itself. Here is the part the old videos cannot know. Last September, validators voted 98% in favor to replace that core entirely. The upgrade is called Alpenglow. Voting moves off the chain. Finality drops from about 13 seconds to a fraction of one. And the honest present tense. It is approved. It has run on a public test cluster since May, and the switch over to the main network is rolling out in phases as I record this, with the full switch targeted for later this year. So when someone tells you Solana already settles in 150 milliseconds, that is the destination, not today's reading. The difference between those two sentences is the difference between reporting and marketing. For most of its life, Solana ran on one piece of software, one codebase, one shared point of failure, and it failed more than once. That era is ending. The network now runs 3 flavors of validator software. The original lineage, Agave, still carries the majority of stake, roughly 6 coins in 10. A hybrid called Frankendancer, yes, really, runs about a quarter. And the fully independent rewrite, Firedancer, built from scratch in a different programming language by a different team, holds around 14%. Why you should care? A bug in one client no longer has to stop the whole chain. That is the boring, structural kind of upgrade that never trends, and matters more than the ones that do. One caveat before anyone gets carried away. Around 40% of stake still touches code written by the same firm in one form or another. Client diversity on Solana is real, and it is young. Both things are true. Staking here is delegation, not surrender. Your coins stay in your wallet. You point them at a validator, you earn a share of new issuance and fees, and you can walk away after a short cooldown measured in days, not months. As I record this, in late July 2026, about 2/3 of all SOL is staked. The native yield runs at roughly 5.5 to just under 6%, before the validator takes its commission. Remember that number because the thumbnails will promise you 8. The gap between the headline and the maths is exactly where this cluster's staking episode lives. And that yield is not a constant. It is paid mostly from new issuance, and issuance is on a schedule that only goes down. Anyone quoting you a fixed rate is quoting a moment, not a mechanism. Then there is the chapter no 4-year-old video could contain. Wall Street arrived. The first spot Solana funds went live in the United States in 2025, and the listing rules were then generalized. So the next products need far less ceremony than the first ones did. One precision the coverage keeps fumbling. The regulator's case that treated SOL as a security was dropped, not decided. Nobody cleared this asset. The lawsuit simply ended. If you care about what was actually established in court, the answer is nothing. That cuts both ways, and a careful viewer holds it that way. Now the question every skeptic should ask, does it still fall over? The record plainly. In 2022, this network fully halted 3 times. Since then, one confirmed full stop. February 2024. As I record this, nothing since. That is genuine improvement, and it is still a track record you judge. not a promise you trust. What changed under the surface? The client diversity you just heard about, scheduling and congestion work that keeps peak load from becoming downtime, and accountability being built in the open. The network now records validator violations on the chain itself, permanently for anyone to inspect. The penalties for those violations are still a proposal being argued about, which leads to a fact that surprises almost everyone. No validator's stake has ever been programmatically slashed on this network. Ethereum slashes. Solana, for now, writes it down. Whether that is pragmatism or a missing tooth in the security model is a genuinely good argument, and we give it a full episode later in this series. One more thing, then the map. You will notice what is missing from this series. No forecasts, no tokens of the week. Not because those things are beneath discussion, but because they are unknowable, and I do not sell certainty I do not have. What Solana is worth is your call. How it works is mine. Here is the map. Wallets first. How to actually hold this thing. Then staking, done properly. Then liquid staking, and what that receipt token really is. Then the reliability file, in full. And 2 head-to-heads, Solana against Ethereum, and their 2 staking models side by side. The chain moved on. Most explainers didn't. Mind the gap. The 6 satellite and comparison videos go deeper. Links in the description. Subscribe to ChainSense. I'm Rachel. See you in the next one.